Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be having a look at two docks. So we're going to be having a look at iVanky's FusionDock Max 1 and also iVanky's FusionDock Pro 3. So the iVanky FusionDock Max 1 is a 20 port monster, and the iVanky FusionDock Pro 3 is a Thunderbolt 5 new dock they've released with 11 ports. So it's much more scaled down but much quicker in theory with Thunderbolt 5 connectivity. So what I want to do in this video is look at both docks, see who they're for and which they suit best. So you might gather that the FusionDock Max is better for video creators, gamers, anyone who's into intensive work or file transfers and needs that extra connectivity. And the Thunderbolt 5 FusionDock Pro 3 is more suited for anyone who prioritizes the newest technology and speed over the number of ports and connectivity options available on their hub. So in this video, we're going to have a look at both docks, compare them side by side and find out which one is for you. And so stay tuned, sit back and relax, and we'll go over the key features of the docks, and hopefully this will help you decide which one you should buy. So first of all, let's get into design and build quality as we normally do on this channel. So the FusionDock Max 1, let's start off with that. We've looked at the FusionDock Pro 3 in the previous video, which I'll put a link to above so you can click into it. So the FusionDock Max 1, which is a bit of a mouthful, is the heavyweight hitter of the two. So this is a 20 port monster, and it creates a very bold impression straight away when you look at the box. So the box is nicely packaged, it's very well packaged as all iVanky products are. You get a nice HDMI cable in the box, good quality cabling, you got some cable ties, you get a 180 watt power supply, and obviously the well-built quality high aluminium metal dock itself. So it's a floating design and it has a nice midnight coloured aluminium body, and it's sort of sat on small legs on the floating metal frame, which looks pretty cool on your desk, and it looks like sort of mini hovercraft parts on your desk I think is about to take off with all that power inside it. So those legs also help with airflow to keep it nice and cool, because it does run quite warm because you've got two Thunderbolt 4 chips in it which are going to generate a lot of heat. And it keeps it that futuristic vibe and also that cooling effect as well. The build quality is very premium and it feels very much around for the price. It feels very premium and it's quite a dense, compact unit. I thought it'd be a lot bigger actually. When it came out of the box, it was a good size. So you get the 180 watt brick with it, which is nice, and also you get like a nice glowing LED on the front to let you know it's got power in it. So yes, this dock does demand a bit of space because you're going to have a lot of cables coming out the back of it, but actually it's relatively compact for the amount of power and ports connectivity you've got on the back. It also has, you get sticky rubber pads to put on the bottom of the dock, so it'll sit nicely on your desk. It won't slide about. I've got probably more or less 20 cables connected to it. It doesn't slide anywhere, which is nice. So on the front of the dock, you've got the Max 1 keeps its nice, clean, subtle lines with another LED on the front, and it also has more ports on the front, which we'll go over in more detail later on in the specifications. I just want to kind of introduce the dock at the moment and let you know what's on the front. So you've got ports on the front and on the back for easy access, and a good collection of both as well. Let's have a look at the FusionDock Pro 3. So this is what I like to call as the sleek sprinter of the two. So it is a very minimalist dock. It only has 11 ports on it, but it does the job fine. So it's Thunderbolt 5 chip in it, which means it's got a theoretical transfer speed of about 120 gigabits per second upwards. There isn't many Thunderbolt 5 products around at the moment. We'll talk about this in a minute, but I think this is the main issue with Thunderbolt 5 at the moment. There isn't enough products around to test it out thoroughly, which is the problem I had when I tested the FusionDock Pro 3 originally. And I love the dock. I think it's really well made, as all iVanky products are, but is it worth buying over the FusionDock Max 1? So it has a metal-clad sturdy body. It's very well made, as it's very slim design, so it's a much thinner design than the iVanky Max 1. So if you're looking for a dock that maybe is more aesthetically pleasing on your desk in terms of taking up less space, then that would do that. And it's more of a less serious dock, I like to call it. It's more of a traditional hub design and gives you that sort of flexibility to put it in different places. So one huge difference between the two is that you just need one Thunderbolt cable between the FusionDock Pro 3 and your laptop or Mac or Windows PC, whereas the FusionDock Max 1 requires two Thunderbolt cables. So it comes with basically a dual cable on one end, which connects into your Mac, and then it splits into two cables, which connects into the dock. The reason why this is because you've got two Thunderbolt chips, so you've basically got two channels inside the Max dock. So you've got a Thunderbolt chip driving the first channel and then one driving the second channel. And this enables you to use quad displays on the dock itself without having to use a splitter or anything like that. So the dock splitting is all built into the internal workings of the dock, which is quite cool and very well designed, and it does works really well. But the reason why this doesn't happen on the Thunderbolt 5 dock is you only got one Thunderbolt 5 chip with one single cable. So that does simplify the setup, but it means you've got less power overall. But the simple cable design is more, so it's simpler to use, simpler to set up, simpler to connect one cable into your Mac, and it means you've got more free ports on your Mac as well, if that's a problem as well. Also bear in mind that the FusionDock Max one will not work with anything but MacBooks and maybe the Mac Mini as well, because it's designed purely to work with MacBooks and Macs, not anything else, whereas the FusionDock Pro 3 with Thunderbolt 5 one will work with Windows PCs with Thunderbolt 4 as well as Thunderbolt 5. So let's have a look at the port layout and compatibility. So both docks are what I like to call port monsters in a way. So the Max one is excessive in the best way possible. It offers 21 different ports in total. Essentially every connector except the kitchen sink is provided for as multiple Thunderbolt 4 ports, USB-C, USB-A, HDMI, Ethernet, SD card slots, and audio microphone jacks, and also an optical audio link as well for those musicians out there. So by contrast, the Pro 3 is just 11 in one dock, which means you get no HDMI outputs, you just get USB-C, USB-A, and also the memory card reader on the front. So that could be a problem depending on what you want to do with the dock. So if you want to connect multiple HDMI displays to it, then you're going to have to buy a USB-C adapter. So it comes with one in the box, the Thunderbolt 5 dock, so you can connect one display by HDMI, USB-C to HDMI, and it's fine, it works. But then if you want to connect more than that, you're going to have to buy a USB-C to HDMI adapter, so you've got to factor that into the cost. Also, you're going to lose the USB-C ports. So the good thing about the Max dock is that you've got the USB-C ports and you've got two HDMI as well. Nice to have on that bigger dock, so you can then use the USB-C ports for things like hard drives or whatever you want to do, charging ports and everything like that, whereas on the Thunderbolt 5 you lose that ability to do that. So we've mentioned the compatibility side of things. The FusionDock 3 on the hand is what we like to call the social butterfly. So that is the one that will work with any machine you want to put it on, and it's not the strictly Apple only members club that the other one is. Just to bear in mind if you're using it with a Windows laptop. I think we now look at style versus practicality. So the Max one is in midnight aluminium, floating hover design, small legs, large hefty with external power brick, impressively unique design, and tethers to your laptop with a dual cable, and it's Mac only. The Pro 3 is sleek, compact, but can be used horizontally or vertically, lighter footprint on the desk, and uses a single Thunderbolt 5 cable for connectivity, simpler appearance, it's no flashy design quirks, and it's cross-platform as well. So this is really where you've got to decide what you want. Obviously, if you're a Windows user, you're going to have to go for the Pro 3 because the one will not even work. But if you're a Mac user, you've got two options here. You can either go for the newest technology of Thunderbolt 5, or you can go for the older, more reliable technology of Thunderbolt 4 and not worry about the speed increase too much. So it really depends what you're doing with this dock. So I'm a video creator. I've tried Thunderbolt 5 and Thunderbolt 4. I don't have any Thunderbolt 5 hard drives because they're really hard to get hold of and they're also incredibly expensive. So I just use Thunderbolt 4 in the studio, and I have to say it's fast enough for me. In the real world, I don't notice that much difference between 4 and 5. This is leads us on to performance, I think. So this is where things get really interesting, where Thunderbolt 5 versus Thunderbolt 4, the difference comes into play. So both docks are designed to turn your trusty laptop into connectivity beast, as we've mentioned. And the FusionDock Max one, with its dual Thunderbolt 4 controllers, it basically means you've got two docks in one. So you've basically got two Thunderbolt 4 docks in one device. So it's got two upstream Thunderbolt 4 ports that plug into your Mac via the dual cable, and it's got 4 downstream Thunderbolt 4 ports for your device's monitors. Yes, that's 4. That's more Thunderbolt ports than most docks on the market, period. I've not seen, there are other docks that do something similar, but this is the most powerful dock I've tried, and I'm very impressed with the results on it, I have to say. On top of all that, you get two HDMI 2.0.1 ports, two USB-C 10 gigabit ports, which are the lowest speed USB-C ports, so not the high speed Thunderbolt 4 ports, 5 USB-A 10 gigabit ports, which are actually useful to have because I've got a hard drive here that connects in via USB-C, which is USB-C 10 gigabits, and it's really nice, USB-A 3.2, which is nice, so it's nice to be able to use that, and also for your mouse as well, and also a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port, SD and microSD. And then you've got the 3.5mm audio and the Toslink, which is the optical audio for musicians out there will know what I'm talking about. So it's essentially the Swiss Army knife of docks. You've got total port is around 20 counting, 20 or 21 if whether you count the Mac connection or not. And essentially the Max one can transform your MacBook into a desktop workstation with everything connected at once. And that's exactly what I needed in the studio, and this is why I'm using it now as my main dock. So to give one idea of its throughput, I plugged in multiple 4K monitors, several USB drives, high-speed SSDs, Ethernet cable, audio gear, and in testing, the external SSD reached 2.8 gigabits per second on the Max 1. That's nearly the drive's native speed, so that's no slower than plugging it into your MacBook. So it gives you the same speed as plugging it into your MacBook. And that is amazing, really, to think about you not losing any speed through this dock, because you've got high quality Thunderbolt 4 chips in this dock. So let's look at the Thunderbolt. We'll just quickly mention charging. So 96 watt charging on this dock as well. So I've got a 16-inch MacBook Pro here, and it keeps it nice and topped up. It's not as fast as, say, the top speed Mac charger that comes in the box. I think it's about 160 watts there, but it does give you 96 watts, which is fine. And it holds up, and it will handle 96 watts on your laptop, and then 30 watts fast charging on your phone, and then 7.5 watts on the side as well. So it's no slouch for powering your gear. So the FusionDock Pro 3 has fewer ports overall, but what it lacks in quantity, it makes up for in its next-gen compatibility. So the Thunderbolt 5 offers 3 downstream Thunderbolt 5 ports for device and monitors, and it also gives you that two USB-A ports, 10 gigabits, and also one USB-A port, 5 gigabits. So you've got 3 USB-A in total for your peripherals, and a faster USB SD card reader as well, with a 2.5 gig Ethernet port, and also the microphone head jack port as well. So the design choices are here. You've got no built-in legacy ports, you've got nothing else, and it's got no optical port for if you're a musician, so just bear that in mind. So performance-wise, the Pro 3 is the one that carries the top bandwidth. The Thunderbolt 5 bandwidth gives you the fastest connection, 120 gigabits per second in theory. It can also offer 3 monitor support and a 6K 60, and also it can do 2 monitors, it can do 2 monitors at 6K 60, and also it can do triple monitors at 4K 144. So you've got the ability to have up to 3 monitors on the Thunderbolt 5 port, which will probably be enough for most people. So that's really, if you're looking for that faster quad display with the maximum connectivity, would you get the Max? And I do need this in the studio, so that's why I'm running the Max, and it doesn't bother me that it's Thunderbolt 4. So the Pro 3 can easily saturate a multi-gigabit network while copying files from USB 2.3. So say you had like a 2.5 gigabit broadband, or you've got like a network drive and you're copying across to that, copying across from USB 3 SSD drives, and you've got all happening at the same time with 2 4K monitors. The Thunderbolt 5 connectivity in this will do it with no problem. And that's the good thing about the Max in the Thunderbolt 4, because you've got 2 Thunderbolt 4 chips, you can do the same thing. Obviously you lose a little bit of bandwidth because you've got the Thunderbolt 4 connectivity, but in the real world use, I didn't find it to hold it back at all. So if you need the connectivity, I would still go for the Thunderbolt 4 side of things. So let's have a brief look now between Thunderbolt 4 and Thunderbolt 5. So Thunderbolt 5 is meant to top out at around 120 gigabits per second. Thunderbolt 4 tops out around between 40 and 80 gigabits per second. So in theory, you've got more bandwidth for higher resolution monitors, transferring files around. So if you're using 4 monitors, transferring files around all the time, you may see some faster speeds in Thunderbolt 5. Thunderbolt 4 though, with this iVanky dock, because you've got 2 of those chips in there, just bear that in mind, you get 80 gigabits per second in total, so you're getting double bandwidth because you've got double chips. So you can run those 4 monitors and everything else fine as well. So if you're really pushing it though on the higher spec of things and you needed that bandwidth, then the 5 dock would be the one to go for. I think for most people though, to be honest, Thunderbolt 4 is fast enough. Like, from my real world testing, I didn't find any slowdown between the iVanky Thunderbolt 4 dock and the iVanky Thunderbolt 5 dock. It handled it fine. So unless you're going to transferring multiple files around regularly, running a high-speed internet connection through the Ethernet port, and also maxing out the monitor port, then I still think the Thunderbolt 4 is absolutely fine. Also, you get the power delivery port on the docks. Both docks have power delivery ports, and that is a good thing. So Thunderbolt 5 is backward compatible with Thunderbolt 4 ports, so you can use the Thunderbolt 5 dock with Thunderbolt 4, Thunderbolt 3, so it all works fine. It'll just go down to the lower speeds. So to get that full speed with the FusionDock 3, you need to have Thunderbolt 5 cables, you need to have Thunderbolt 5 hard drives and everything like that. So it just isn't available at the moment. It's not worth it. So I think it's just not worth it at the moment. And let's look at the pricing. So I think, so you can pick up an iVanky FusionDock Max one for about £370 with discount at the moment. And you can pick up the FusionDock Pro 3 for about £280. So it's about £100 different, £100 different in price. So for £100 more, you get double the amount of ports, you get 4 monitor support, you get a much higher quality build, you get the flexibility to mount it where you want. You get the option with rubber feet on it, and you get HDMI ports as well without having to buy the extender. So you could easily buy, if you want to connect more into a Thunderbolt 5 dock, you could easily spend the same amount. So I just think at the moment, in my mind, the iVanky FusionDock Pro 1 Max is the one to go for still. I think it just, for creatives and professionals who use multiple displays and want to have flexibility to connect from USB-C to HDMI, the FusionDock Max 1 is just the best dock on the market at the moment I've tried. It just offers great speeds, it offers flawless performance, and it doesn't overheat, and I've just pushed it as hard as I can and it doesn't ever let me down. So for the past few weeks, it's been my top dock to use. The Thunderbolt 5 dock from iVanky is great if you want the utmost bandwidth available and you're not bothered about connecting more than up to 11 devices, then the Thunderbolt 5 one's a good one to go for. Check it out. But I just don't write off Thunderbolt 4 yet. It's not dead and buried, and because you've got those two chips inside it, the two Thunderbolt 4 chips, you get double the bandwidth and double the amount of display support. So that's why I recommend that dock still, because you've got those two Thunderbolt 4 chips inside the iVanky dock, and it is unique to iVanky. I'm sure there are other manufacturers doing it as well, but this is a very unique dock I've tried, and because of those two chips, I highly recommend the FusionDock Max 1 still. So please check it out. Check out the Pro Dock 3 as well. Decide which one you want to try. They've got some great deals on iVanky's website at the moment on the discount codes. I'll put all the details down below in the description, and please let me know if you've enjoyed the video. I hope you have, because I've enjoyed making it as much as talking about these docks, and I'm sorry it's very technical, but there's a lot to go into. But any questions about both docks, about which one you should buy, drop me a comment down below and I'll help you out as much as I can. So thank you very much, and I'll speak to you next time.